All right, welcome back to Ireland Contracting Night. The Sports Call. Rich Walsh along with Andrew Fillipponi at Pony Express. Follow him on Twitter. We were just talking about how Kevin Colbert said yesterday that he'd rather take a guy that played than a guy that didn't play. You know, I'm kind of on board with this with him. I do, unless there was a big major health concern and the guy was afraid of playing because his family there was COVID concerns. But I think I would take a guy that would play over a guy that opted out.
So Micah Parsons, you'd make him, what, a second-round player then, Richie? You've got great – so you'd call your buddy Terry Smith at Penn State, and you would say, no, Terry, no, I can't take Micah Parsons. He didn't want to play this year. I'll take I guess I'll take Taven Jenkins instead or one of those. Come on. I mean, to me, like Kevin Colbert tried to make it sound like if guys were tied, it would break the tie. Do they really do that? Do they really have the same exact grade on players? I don't know. I thought it was kind of self-serving, like the Steelers wanted to make it sound like they wanted guys who love football. Okay, great. There's a guy named Curtis Martin who didn't love football. He only played to get himself out of a bad situation and then did it to make money, and he's in Canton. He's got his bus next to Terry Bradshaw and Joe Green. Pretty good player, so I don't know about that.
I would love to see Micah Parsons fall to the Steelers.
But he didn't play. He opted out, so sorry.
Let's go to
No
Brad.
dice.
Brad in Brooklyn. How you doing, Brad?
Hey, Brad.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Andrew, I couldn't agree more with you. Drafting a running back in the first round is just ridiculous. This team is not one player away. You trade down, but I don't think the Steelers will do that because I think as a whole the organization is so outdated, and I just don't see it happening. Trade down, get an extra pick, because this team is far away from one running back to make a Super Bowl run.
But they need a running back. Whether they get him in the first round or the fifth round, they need a running back. They need a running back, I think, more than an offensive tackle right now.
Sure.
They don't have a starter. They do not have a starter on this roster right now.
I know they don't, but in the same draft, the Steelers picked James Conner in the third round. The Saints picked Alvin Kamara there. So you don't have to find your running back in the first round. The Jaguars had a 1,000-yard rusher last year named James Robinson, who was an undrafted free agent. Now, I'm not saying that the Steelers are going to get that lucky and find a great running back who goes undrafted. 250 picks go by the board, and he's still left out there. But all I'm saying is, to your point, it's not a very high bar to clear. It's not a high bar to find somebody in the draft who's better than Benny Snell, Booger McFarland, Jalen Samuels. So
but
you're
Pony,
telling
can we
me,
do
Richie,
that with every position? We could go up and down every offensive line, and we could find guys that weren't drafted. Ramon Foster. We could do Kevin Dotson.
No doubt,
fourth
but
rounder.
but you're missing the point here, I think. Offensive lineman, if you take a good lineman, he's probably going to play bare minimum 5 years. Le'Veon Bell was a Steeler for 4 years. His fifth year in the NFL with the Jets, he was terrible. These running backs don't last long. The longevity of their careers, it's documented. It's the shortest of any position. So why would you want to use your premium pick on a guy that maybe, if you're lucky, is a really good player for 3 years? That's not long enough. That's why you take a Michael Carter or a Trey Sermon or one of these guys in the third round. And if a third-round pick is good for you for 3 years, great. The Steelers don't give third-round picks a lot of second contracts. They didn't give Javon Hargrave one. He's a pretty good player. So that's how I look at that. Your first-round pick, you're expecting that guy to be a really good player for you for more than 5 years. And I don't see how you could say that about a running back. Najee Harris, Richie, if he played 5 years in Pittsburgh, by the end of it, he'd be 28 years old. You're going to give that guy a second contract? No way.
No, but if I told you he had maybe 3 Pro Bowl type seasons, 5 at least 1,000-yard plus seasons, you would think that would be a good pick, right?
Yeah, but I think you could get that from a second-round back like they did with Le'Veon Bell. And I don't expect him to step in next year and get to 1,000 yards, not behind this line. Because now you got to wait until pick 55 to get what, your left tackle? Then you take your left tackle there? Who's going to be available then? Who?
Well,
Who's going to be able to step in and start?
I'm going with Chooks or Zach Banner, whoever's the best tackle.
Zach's playing right,
yeah,
so who's
Chooks.
playing left? Chooks.
Chooks.
A guy that got beat out at right tackle 2 years in a row wasn't good enough to start.
Tomlin said as of right now, Chooks is his guy. Let's go out to Bill and Bell Vernon.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rich. I think they should take a running back in the first or the second round.
Well, I said first.
That's a
Tony
big
said
difference.
second.
Hey,
Hold
first
on.
and second are a big difference, Bill. Pick one. First or second round. Which one?
I would say first.
Okay.
Because here's the
Okay.
thing. You're not just picking for next year. You're picking a running back for the future. I understand that they have a short longevity, but look, they've drafted late in the round 4 running backs, and they've gotten nothing. They're saying this draft here is full of a lot of offensive lines and guards, so you can pick them in a later round. I just think they should take a running back in the first round.
Thanks, Bill. You know, just like we all like Kevin Dotson, right? They got him in the 4th round. I mean, I see your point, Pony, but they're picking towards the end of the 1st round. That's the sweet spot for running backs. 24.
What do you mean? That's where they found David. They found David DeCastro with that exact pick. And he's been great for last year he stunk, but he was great for 8 years.
Well, if Rashawn Slater
That's not
falls,
a running back sweet spot.
I'm fine, but it seems like that's where running backs go now. If you look at last year, it's later in the draft. No one's drafting running backs at the top 10 picks anymore. I mean, I guess Saquon
Well, let me ask you
Barkley-
this question. Would the Chiefs have been better off taking a left tackle or Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the 32nd pick? Did you watch the Super Bowl? What do you think they needed?
Well, they went out and got it. But would that have
Yeah,
left
a year
tackle
late.
started for them? I mean, I guess they didn't need Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I get what you're saying. I mean, we could go back and forth this. I do not mind if they would get Trey Sermon in the 2nd round. I like the guy. I like the kid. I think he could be a potential really good running back in the NFL. So if you're telling me you could get him in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'd be fine with whatever they go in the 1st or 2nd. I don't want another Anthony McFarland. That's what I don't want.
Okay, well, that was a 4th round pick. And the issue with that was from the very beginning, they picked a guy that wasn't supposed to be a feature back. They said he's going to be a gadget, home run, gimmick running back. Dumb. Why in the world would you pick a guy in the 4th round at running back who you're pretty much saying when you draft, he's never going to be a starter for us. He's only going to be a backup running back who serves a very unique purpose.
And then you
that
run
was a
him up the
horrible
middle
pick.
in games. All right, we got to go to our Tri-State.
And then you throw it to him 30 yards downfield on 4th down.
I know. Tri-State Office Furniture tweet of the day. How about this? I want to talk about Bucco Fever
Joe
after we
Block.
come back. Yeah, Joe Block. We're putting him on. Because look at this. Your battling Buccos have the best bullpen in the National League in the last 17 games. Rich Rod, we're warming him up to trade him at the deadline. That's what we're doing right now. Going to be a lot of valuable players on this team. Coming back in a couple minutes, talking about the Bucs. Stay right there.